recording. For this evening's class, you will need a yoga belt or something similar, a non-stretchy scarf or a belt, just a normal belt will do. So I'll give you this opportunity just to grab that if you don't have it immediately on hand. Now, when you're ready, I'll ask you, please, just to arrive in a comfortable seat. Now, that can be with your legs crossed if that feels good for you, or you can sit in our Virasana shape. If you've got a bolster handy, a really lovely way to access Virasana that's just a little bit more gentle is to straddle the bolster. So just take this opportunity to get yourself nicely established in a steady upright seat. And we're starting off our practice this week with some beautiful vagal reset maneuvers. So we're beginning by taking the hands just out in front of us and allowing your eye gaze to just settle on the fingertips and come into your breath. And just be here for a moment. It's a soft but steady gaze at the fingertips with the breath moving slowly and smoothly. And now when you're ready, just slowly, please take your right arm out to the side and keep your head very still as you follow the tip of your right index finger with the eyes. Keeping the head still, your head's going to want to follow that finger in space. So keep the head still, just following the finger with the eyes. And when you lose that finger in your peripheral vision, bring it back. And again, we're tracking or tracing the movement of that right fingertip in space as the arm moves. And then doing the same on the left-hand side, keeping your head really still. Just taking the eyes across, following that left index finger, and then bringing it back nice and slowly, following that finger as you go. Good, we're taking it out to the right-hand side again, following that right fingertip, head still, the eyes moving, following that right index finger, and then bringing that back nice and easy. All right, and taking the left hand out again. Head still, eyes following the tip of that left finger. All right, and bringing that back. All right, we're going to bring the back of the hands to gently touch against each other and drop the elbows down. All right. Backs of the hands gently pressing against each other, dropping the elbows down toward the floor. This is just a nice alternative release for the wrists. And especially if your wrists have been in extension for a lot of the day, if you've been working on the computer, this is a lovely wrist release. And when you're ready, letting those hands go. Taking it into the head and the neck now. Please take your dominant hand and just cup your chin. And we're wanting to keep the chin nice and steady. You can even think about using that dominant hand to sort of guide the chin in slightly, bringing the skull into a very subtle retraction. And now open the mouth wide and take your eye gaze up as high as you can. It looks completely ridiculous, I know. Letting that go. And again, dominant hand presses the chin back. Feel the whole skull sort of slightly retract. And keeping a nice firm pressure on your chin. Draw the chin down, open the mouth wide, and lift the eye gaze up. Good, and relax. We're going to do that one more time. Dominant hand gently pressing on the chin, feeling yourself bringing that skull into retraction, keeping the chin nice and stable as you open the mouth wide and lift the eye gaze up. And letting that one go. Now that we are coming into springtime, it's really important to make sure that our internal waters are moving well. So to me, that always translates as the lymphatic system. And there are several key lymphatic gates that we are really interested in stimulating. We're starting up just with your right hand, just underneath the left ear, and just as firm or as gentle as you like. I like to sort of go at a medium pressure, and you're just giving yourself a little bit of a massage up and underneath the jawline toward the tip of the chin, and then changing sides, taking the left hand underneath the right earlobe and gently massaging underneath the jawline. If you have had a recent brush up against anything viral, you might notice one or two of those lymph nodes under the jawline may be feeling a little bit congested. You can even just do this to save time. Why not? With both hands, just taking the fingers up and underneath that jawline. Good. And then brushing down toward the heart along the neck. Now, this is not only stimulating the lymphatic system, but it's also a beautiful ventral vagal activator. So just taking some gentle strokes down toward the collarbones. Good. And then we're going to take the fingertips and find the sternum and actually gently tap the sternum. Again, I say gentle, I'm actually being quite firm. Of course, you don't want to bruise yourself or anything like that, but it's enough so that you can feel those lovely vibrations. Take it across the collarbones, down the sternum. Beautiful. Okay, still, pardon the pun, in Vegas. I know, I'm sorry. We're going to twist to the left and then take the head to the right, and then take your eye gaze just up and to the left. Now, we did this last week. We don't want the eye gaze to be super harsh or penetrating, just steady. So pick a landmark in the room that you can focus on that's up and to the left, and just keep the eye gaze there as you maintain your breath. Holding and holding and holding. Release the eyes, release the head, and release the chest and shoulders back to center. Now we're going to take chest and shoulders over to the right, then take your head to the left, and then lift the eye gaze without moving your head up and to the right. Just picking a little landmark in the room that your eyes can comfortably focus on that's up and to the right, and holding there, breathing slowly and smoothly. And hold. And hold. And hold. Good. Release the eyes, release the head, and now releasing the chest and shoulders. Popping your bolster out the way if you were using one. Good. As we come to arrive now on our backs, as you arrive on your back, just starting with a lovely hug of the knees in toward the chest, you might choose to just land the hands on the shin bones. And now just very gently hug the knees in toward the chest and keep the tailbone lengthening toward the earth, back of the skull resting on the floor, and even allowing the shoulder heads to just descend so that you feel nice and wide across the chest and collarbones, and there's no excessive gripping in the chest or shoulders. Good. Now, taking the left leg out long and let it land on the earth. Good. And now please curl the tailbone under and bring some attention into the front of that left hip. Good. Hugging both knees into chest. And now taking the right leg out long, let the heel land. Once that leg has landed, thinking about maintaining that hug of the left knee in toward the chest and curling the tailbone under. Good. And hugging both knees in toward the chest once more. You might like to even turn this into a happy baby pose. I know it's a bit early in the practice, but just see how you go. Now, if you are coming into your happy baby, please try and keep your heels above your knees. Many of us deepen this shape by taking the feet out wide, which creates a lot of uneven pressure in the knee joint. So just keeping the heels stacked above the knees and gently hugging the knees in toward the armpits. Good. And when you're ready, we'll land the feet back on the floor. To the best of your ability, feeling that the feet are more or less hip width apart. And we'll take the arms out long alongside the body, keeping the shoulder heads nice and descended. Draw the navel in toward the spine. And on an inhale, we'll lift the hips up nice and high. And on the exhale, coming back down. So we're looking to create a little vinyasa here. Inhale, lifting the hips, bringing yourself into your bridge pose. And as you exhale, come on down, nice and easy. Good. Again, inhale, lifting the hips, bringing it into your bridge pose. And this time we're going to hold it up nice and high, thinking about just creeping the fingers down toward the heel bones. But depending on how long your arms are, you might not land anywhere near your heels. That's fine. It's just that intention of keeping the arms nice and long. Good. You might even choose to pick up an interlace of the hands and fingers underneath you and stay anchored down. Nice heavy footprints in both feet, pressing the back of the arms gently into the earth and thinking about lifting the chest to the chin. When you're ready, we're going to let all of that go nice and easy. Good. And then just windscreen wipe the knees gently from side to side. Good. When you're ready, rocking and rolling your way to an upright seat. You might take a couple of rocks and rolls. That's entirely up to you. And we're landing now with the feet hip width apart, coming into a little fascial flossing across the chest and shoulders again. If you have been sat at a computer or driving a lot today, this will be perfect. We start by landing the back of the wrists just brushing up against the buttocks, and then lift up onto the tips of your middle fingers, turn the palms of the hands to face the back of the mat, and then drop down onto the hands, straightening the elbows to lift the chest up. Thinking about keeping your toe prints plugged nicely into the mat, the fingerprints and the palm prints nicely embedded into the sticky mat as well, and just keeping the chin down and the eye gaze toward the knees. Now, if you feel like this is too strong in your wrist joints, then you can mitigate that by just taking the fingertips and swiveling them out, orienting them a little bit more toward the long edges of the mat. And if it's your chest that feels really tight, you can inch the hands out wider, but we're still leaving the hands more or less where they landed in that setup. And now please create a feeling here as though you are attempting to drag your sit bones and your fingertips towards each other. So we're really lighting up across the chest, into the armpits. The armpits are another one of those important lymphatic gates in the body. Holding here, breathing, good, and letting that go. Now, stay where you are, please. We're lifting up onto the tips of the middle fingers before dropping the back of the hands down onto the mat, and gently anchor the back of the hands down. If you're craving something a little bit spicier, you can take the shoulders just back behind the ears. Letting that go now and giving the wrists a little bit of a flick. Maintaining this position here with the legs, you might like to just windscreen wipe those knees from side to side again, but then come back to land in this frame as we take a very gentle version of our seated pigeon pose. So we're going to bring the right heel to rest on top of the left knee. This might mean that you need to take your left leg out longer so that it's not quite so high for that right ankle to land. And this is the important part here. Please, 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 please keep the right toes really flexing up toward the shin. So that right ankle is in dorsiflexion, and that's our insurance policy for the right knee joint. And then with that right ankle really flexing, fold the knee away from the right shoulder. Good, smooth, steady breaths here. If you want it more spicy, think about lifting the chest closer toward that right calf muscle. You can achieve that by bringing more of a bend into the left knee, sliding the heel in a little bit closer to the sit bone. But the important thing here is to keep that right ankle flexing so that you can fold into the knee and open into the hip nice and safely. Good. And now for the tricky part, we're going to take the legs over to the left. Good. And so we've landed here ready for a nice seated twist, scooping up the right shin in the crook of that left elbow. Fingertips of the right hand come to land on the floor, just gently behind you. Try not to lean into that arm. Taking a nice inhale to sit tall, and as you exhale, we're turning to the right and just letting the eye gaze drop down gently toward that right shoulder. Depending on how you're feeling, you might enjoy bringing that right arm into a bind, and just keeping the right shoulder head nice and relaxed. The eye gaze slightly down toward the right shoulder. Of course, the tongue is resting flat against the roof of the mouth. On an inhale, seek out a little bit more height. And as you exhale, finding a little bit more rotation. Smooth, steady breaths. Bringing the head back to center, releasing the shoulders. And now we're going to straighten that left leg out long. So we're keeping the right foot just planted on the left side of the left leg. Good. And taking the fingertips onto the floor just next to your left hip. And let yourself bow forward. Really nice and low. You'll notice here that your right sit bone wants to lift up away from the floor. That's fine to begin with, but once you've bowed down, please now think about rooting the right sit bone back into the mat, letting the right shoulder and rib cage feel heavy, and really let the head hang. Smooth, steady breaths. Right sit bone anchored, head hangs heavy. And coming back to sit tall. Good. Staying here, please ask very politely if your right knee is at all interested in stacking above your left knee. Your right knee might say no, that's okay. You can stay like this if that's the case. Otherwise, we're just in a half cow-faced pose here. And please pick up your strap. Opening up the strap now, we're folding it in half and just holding onto the end of the strap. I like to hold on to the metal D-ring end just in case it hits me in the head, and holding onto the strap in your left hand. The wrist turned up to face the ceiling, so that left shoulder joint is already in external rotation. And now lifting that left arm up toward the cheekbone before bending the elbow. We're now taking the right arm out to the side. Turn the thumb down, let the shoulder head drop forward. Turn the right thumb back, let the shoulder dip down. And then as you sweep that right arm in behind you, keep the arm straight until you feel the bicep touching the rib cage, and then bend the elbow. See if you can pick up the other end of that strap. Now, depending on what you're after, you can create quite an active experience in the shoulders here by gently pulling the strap in opposite directions, keeping some tension or force there. Or you can keep it a little bit more low key, not so active. It's up to you. And if you're wanting to add a little bit of a flourish into that right hip and left hamstring, you might fold yourself forward. Please stay with your breath. Tongue rests against the roof of the mouth. And we're coming back to sit tall. Coming out really carefully the way that we moved in. So we'll start by taking the right arm out, the left arm up. Both arms are out now, and then bring the arms down, reset with a lovely shrug, and we'll take that sequence onto the other side. So starting with the feet just plugging down into the mat. Good. And this time bringing your left heel to rest up on your right knee. Gazing at that left foot as you dorsiflex the ankle joint, so really peeling the toes up toward the shin bone so that you can now fold that left knee away from the left shoulder, and it's all coming from the hip with no torque in the knee joint. Remember, if you want this spicier, lift the chest closer to that left knee or slide the right heel in a bit closer to the sit bone to just bring the shape a little bit closer in. Left ankle flexing, left knee folding down toward the mat. Now, keeping everything about this exactly as it is, please. When you're ready, we're going to drop both legs really carefully over to the right. Now, you might need to readjust your pelvis here. And now scooping up the left shin and the crook of the right elbow, left fingertips land gently on the floor, or bring the arm in to bind if that's what you're feeling. Take an inhale to sit tall and exhale, turn to the left. Just allowing the eye gaze to gently orient itself down toward the left shoulder and coming back to cultivate some lovely long, smooth breaths. On an inhale, sitting a little bit taller. On the exhale, finding a little bit more rotation. Lovely, long, smooth, steady breaths. When you're ready, please bring the head back through center. Release the shoulders. And then swing that right leg out long so the left foot is just planted over at the right side of the right leg. And now again, picking up your strap, please. It's folded in half, holding onto the strap in your right hand, and start by just orienting or spinning the inside of the wrist and elbow crease to face the ceiling. Then take the arm up next to the cheekbone and bend the elbow. Take the left arm out, turn the thumb down, turn the thumb back, then swim the arm in, bending the elbow right at the last moment, picking up the other end of the strap in the left hand, and taking a moment to get settled here to find your breath. Oh, by the way, you want to stack your left knee over the right knee. Apologies. Good. And you can choose, again, to be quite active here by gently tugging on the strap, or keep it a little bit less intense. Maybe fold yourself out over that left knee, keeping the breath as your priority. And when you're ready, on an inhale, come back to sit tall. Coming out of the shape carefully, we'll take the left arm out to the side first, then take the right arm up, both arms out to the side, and bringing the arms down, reset with a bit of a shrug and make your way, please, onto all fours, taking a couple of lovely rounds of cat-cow here just to flush out. Inhale to arch the spine and look up, and exhale to tuck the chin and round. Again, inhale, spine arches, lifting the eyes, and exhale, tuck the chin, round the spine. Now, please settle into this with your own breath leading the way. Try to keep the breath and the waves of movement in the spine very fluid and slow. And you are so encouraged to take some more organic shape. So that might mean some lovely hip circles, feeling into the side waist, the lower back, and the back of the rib cage as you move. And then when you are ready, please tuck the toes and meet me in a downward facing dog. If down dog is a little bit too intense for you this evening, you can, of course, work in child's pose, knees on the floor, and creep the arms out long, just letting the sternum, the face, and the armpit chest drop down toward the earth. Otherwise, if you're up in your down dog, you might be pedaling out the heels nice and slowly. Good. Now, when you're ready, just creep everything to the middle of the mat. Let the knees soften off. Please pick up your strap again and round and roll yourself up nice and slowly to a standing position. And this is the apex sequence of the practice this week. If you've been to any of my in-person classes, you've likely done this with me. It's one of my favorite things. It's a full body experience. Start by just holding the strap out in front of you, please. And it's important to maintain the tension in the strap. And we're going to lift the arms up above the head. Take them only so far back as you need to, just to feel that across the chest and shoulders. And then please think about lifting the heart up and shining the chest and the armpits forward. So we're taking it into a little bit of a back bend, especially pronounced through the thoracic spine. Just hold it there and breathe. Maintain the tension in the strap, please. On an exhale, we're bringing the arms forward. Stop when the fists are roughly shoulder height, then drop the chin and drive the fists forward. Let the shoulder blades separate. So it's exactly like our downward facing cat, but we're standing with that tension in the strap. And again, take the strap above your head. Take the strap back just to the point where you start to feel that in the chest and shoulders. Hold it there and think about lifting the heart up and shining the chest forward in space. Lovely wide armpits. Keep the tension in the strap. One more time, drop the hands forward. Stop when the fists are about shoulder height. Drop the chin, drive the fists forward, let the shoulder blades separate and really round out, decompress through the mid and upper back. Good. Now we're coming back up. Please maintain the tension in the strap here. And with a wide but sort of neutral, soft feeling in the legs, we're going to shift the weight into the right leg, pick up your left foot and take a long and very crooked twist. Both knees are bending. And now what we're looking to do is lift that left heel up off the floor. So rise up onto the toes of the left foot. And now just let your eye gaze drop down toward your right armpit. Keep the tension in the strap here and feel what happens when you lean the chest back, when you curl the tailbone under, and when you use your right hand to tug on that tension in the strap to take yourself over into a side bend. Lots of breath and attention into that left side. Keep leaning the heart back, leaning the torso over to the right. And when you're ready, just carefully coming out. Good. Keep the tension in the strap. Land the legs back in a sort of nice neutral position, shifting the weight into the left leg now. Pick up your right foot and take that back, a long crooked lunge. Good, both knees are bending, lifting up onto the toes, right up onto the ball of that back right foot. Drop the eye gaze down toward the left armpit here, and feel what happens when you lean the chest back. And then when you take the torso over to the left, keeping the tension in the strap, please. Leaning the chest back, leaning the torso over to the left, curling the tailbone under. Stay with the breath. Keeping the tension in the strap. We're just gently releasing that now. Oh, amazing. I'm sure you're very grateful now to be putting the strap down, and we're coming back down onto the floor. Good. And invitation here again to come to land on your bolster if you like, or any comfortable position. Yeah, we're just looking for a seat. This next couple of minutes is all about neck, shoulders, and vagus nerve. So just land in whatever seat you like. Okay, we're going to take the arms out in front of us. Cross your right elbow over the top of your left. And now bring the fingers around to seek out the inner borders of your shoulder blades, just giving yourself a lovely hug after a long day. And now holding here, squeeze the elbows together and lift them up in space. You can keep the chin just slightly nestled down toward that right bicep that's sitting on top. The focus is on squeezing and lifting the elbows, keeping the breath nice and smooth. Good. We're bringing the back of the forearms now to rest against one another. And if your proportions allow it, the left hand is going to pick up the right thumb. And very gently think about using your left hand to tug your right thumb down toward the nose. This is likely your scrolling thumb. So if you're noticing that it feels a little bit uncomfortable, then that's why. Good. And now keeping the torso upright, please take both forearms and hands over to the right. Good. Smooth, steady breaths. This is likely landing in the back of your right shoulder here. Keep the elbows squeezing, the hands traveling over to the right. Good. We're coming back through center now and letting go of the arms. Reset with a little cactus, shoulder blade squeeze. Take the eye gaze up. And now take the arms back out in front of you. This time we're going to cross the left elbow over the top of the right. Bring the fingers around to seek out the inseams, the inner borders of those shoulder blades. And start here with a squeeze of the elbows and lift them up in space. You can let your chin just nestle down slightly toward that top left bicep. The focus is on squeezing and lifting the elbows. Good. Bringing the back of the forearms to meet. And if your proportions allow for it, this time the right hand is going to take the left thumb and gently tug that left thumbnail down toward the nose. Keep a squeeze and a lift in the elbows as you just tug that left thumb down. And now we'll travel both hands and forearms over to the left, keeping the torso nice and upright, elbows squeezing, hands and forearms traveling over to the left. So this is bringing it into the back of that left shoulder. Gently release, reset with a little cactus of the arm to squeeze of the shoulder blades and look up. Good, and letting that go. Taking it into the neck now, please find an interlace of hands and fingers at the back of your head. Think about keeping the collarbones lifting up as you drop the chin down, and let the elbows and the arms hang forward. So hopefully where we've arrived is a very supported feeling with the chest lifting and the chin dropping down. And you can feel that the arms are acting as lovely passive weights for the back of the neck. So try and let the head really drop forward without letting the chest droop down. Let the arms be nice and heavy. If you have any vulnerabilities in your neck, just stay with this and don't take it any further. But if you are looking for something a little bit spicier, you can think about pushing your head gently against the resistance of the hands. Now, it's just enough to spark a conversation in the fascia at the back of the neck, maybe between the shoulder blades and the base of the skull, but it's not a screaming match. It's a gentle conversation now that's just happening as you press the head against the hands. Good. Keeping that gentle push of the head against the hands now. As you bring the head back up through center, take the elbows wide, shoulders relaxed. And now please push your head against your hands quite actively. Hold there and breathe. Elbows wide, shoulders relaxed, head pushing against the hands. If you've got vulnerabilities in your neck, stay here. If you want a little bit more, think about tipping the chin up, keeping that press of the head against the hands, elbows wide, shoulders relaxed. Good. Bringing the head back through center. And now releasing those arms down, giving the shoulders a little bit of a shrug. Amazing. Okay, my crew, when you are ready, please make your way onto your back for your Shavasana. We are weaving in some breath awareness into our Shavasana just to help keep the mind anchored and to help us make the most of our time together. Now, as you come to land on the floor, please take your time to arrange yourself however you enjoy, propped in whatever way you like. Palms of the hands turned to face the ceiling and letting the big toes fall away from the heels. And this evening, as we rest in our Shavasana, a reminder that this is the most important part of the practice. Even if you're joining us for the breath practice after this, be fully present here whilst your body digests and absorbs the previous work. The invitation this evening is to settle into a pattern of breath where you inhale for 4 counts, hold for 5 counts, and exhale for 6 counts. 4, 5, 6. In for 4, hold for 5, and out for 6. Keeping count in whatever way you like, maybe hearing the count in your inner voice, or perhaps seeing the numbers flash up in your mind's eye. But keep your mind anchored in the count. And let your physical body soften and absorb. Stay with this. If your mind wanders, gently and patiently invite yourself back. Stay with this until the sound of my voice summons you back. at the end of your next long exhalation, let go of that pattern and allow your breath to return to its natural, quiet state. Taking some awareness into the bones of your wrists and your ankles as you rotate carefully into the wrists and ankles, articulating the toes and the fingers carefully as you move. Having a lovely yawn and a stretch. And very slowly and carefully guiding yourself over onto your favorite side. We suggest the right-hand side unless you have low blood pressure. Take your time to carefully curl your way back into an upright seat. And as you arrive here in your seat, just pausing for a moment to check in. Just noticing how the breath is moving and how your body is feeling. Floating the palms to meet one another in front of your heart, or if you prefer, just resting one hand on your chest and the other on your belly. As we punctuate the end of this practice with gratitude and acknowledgement, extending our thanks for the gift of this day and offering our respects and acknowledgements to one another and to the custodians of this living tradition. As always, my deep respect, oodles of affection and massive gratitude to you all for your company. A reminder that as we move into equinox and into spring, that keeping the lymphatic system flowing is really important. You might enjoy some dry skin brushing, which is particularly beneficial this time of year, or anything else that gets things moving, a brisk walk, yeah, whatever you like. It now is a good time actually to be seeking out those infrared saunas if you've got access to one. Thank you so much, everyone, for your company. I really appreciate you very much. I'll be seeing some of you soon in the 8:30 session. Otherwise, have a great night. Rest well. Lots of love. Thank you muchly. And goodbye.